Talofa lava, this is Pacific Waves from RNZ Pacific. I'm Susanna Swiswiki. Coming up, celebrating Solomon Islands Language Week in Aotearoa. Also, better access to medical monitors, a game changer for those living with diabetes.
We are really making a change with people who struggle to engage with the healthcare system.
And
We've got an exciting one this year. We have 10 overseas countries.
over 700 paddlers from across the globe bring their A game in the Cook Islands. The Solomon Islands Pidgin Language Week kicked off in New Zealand on Sunday. Secretary for Pacific Peoples, Geraldine Clifford-Lidstone, said Solomon Islands has more than 70 indigenous languages and dialects, but Pidgin is the most common language spoken among Solomon Islanders. Joining me is the Secretary for the Wellington Solomon Islands community, Glorious Oxenham, affectionately known to her community members as Auntie Glow. Hello, Glow. First of all, how do you say the theme of this year's Language Week and what does it mean?
The theme for this year, in Pidgin English, it says protecting language and culture Bloyumi, which is protecting our language and culture.
And what are some of the activities taking place in your community this week?
This week, yesterday we had the flag raising at Pataka Museum, hosted by the Koroi City Council and the Pataka Museum, of course. That's always, this is the second year that we've had the Language Week, and we are the last for the year also. And it's been really good to have the community coming together and just sharing about the language, but also other languages, because Solomon has many languages, but you could say the lingua franca, where everybody, probably 70% or so, maybe the population will speak it. A lot of people still speak their own languages. So.
I know this is the second time that the Solomon Islands Pidgin Language Week is being celebrated here in Aotearoa. How does it feel to finally have that recognition of having the Solomon Islands culture and language, celebrated?
Yeah. It is a proud time because the Solomon was never, not well known in, say, New Zealand and to other Pacific countries, particularly Polynesians. When we first appeared at the Pacifica Festival in Wellington, they were like, "Where is the Solomon?" And then since then, we've participated in this Pacifica Festival for over 10 years now. So we're slowly getting ourselves known, but having the Language Week is just probably top it up, to be able to get the country, the culture, the people, be known to people all over New Zealand, which is great.
Would you say that Solomon Islands Pidgin language, would you say that it's a thriving language, like compared to other Pacific languages that are on the verge of, I wouldn't say extinction, but it's endangered?
There's some dying languages out there. Yeah. Pidgin is spoken quite widely, but I think because same with Papua New Guinea and Vanuatu, all these three particular Melanesian countries, they worked really, really hard to be included in this New Zealand Language Week to be included. So it's quite a lot of work by members of these communities to get these three countries onto the list. So it's been great to have that, and it's great to be able to be included. Yeah.
So I understand that you teach Solomon Islands Pidgin. What is something about Pidgin that you will tell your students on their first day?
Because Solomon Island Pidgin is English-based, lots of local dialects in it though, but it is very easy to follow. And then I teach a lot of these to diplomats, people who go over to the Solomons. So just for them to be aware of not just the language, but the culture. So getting them to understand, have some background knowledge about the country that they go into. And I also have done before the Ramsey programs, Regional Assistance to Solomon Islands, which is now no longer happening, but that's one of the things that I did was teach Pidgin for those who go over there to be able to interact with people in their local dialects, and that's not just the local dialects, but the Pidgin English. People who go over there, they're quite excited about being able. And do you know what? When they return, they speak quite fluently, in Pidgin English.
Would people consider Pidgin as their first or second language? Because I know that English is widely spoken back in Solomon Islands.
Yeah, Pidgin is probably third, fourth language for others. Some people speak 2 or 3 languages of their own mother tongue. And even though English is the official language, Pidgin is still widely spoken in businesses and the parliament and the schools. So it is not the only language that is used.
And just to finish off our interview, Glo, is there something you would like to say in Pidgin to Solomon Islanders or friends joining in your celebrations this week?
Yeah, thank you too much, long everyone who listen come along this fall time. And now this fall week, you may celebrate them, make it to fall year, below Solomon Islands Pidgin Language Week. And him good too much that people ogata garam involvement, lo how ogata waka lo community below kita for supporting this fall language week and showcase lo New Zealand, lo culture and the language below Yumi. So him no more. Thank you so much.
Wonderful. Thank you, Glo, for your time. Take care.
Thank you.
Free access to diabetes monitoring technology may be saving thousands of lives. New data suggests that over 19,000 Kiwis now have funded access to smart glucose monitors, thanks to a funding boost in October 2024. A Māori and Pasifika charity says it's been a game changer. Kaya Selby has more.
Koroi Hawkins is a dietitian for Brown Butterbean, a charity which runs a diabetes support service for Māori and Pasifika. His wife has diabetes, so when her continuous glucose monitor suddenly became free of cost, it was a big deal.
She's type 1 diabetic, so recently, the last maybe 3.5 years, she's been wearing the continuous glucose monitor. Most of that time, we were funding it ourselves because we thought it was so valuable that she have it. And until, I think it was October last year, where it became funded.
Around 14% of Pasifika and Aotearoa live with diabetes, according to the latest health survey figures. That's as well as the 88% of Pasifika who are overweight and obese. But untreated or unmonitored diabetes can lead to amputations and vision loss, imposing costs on communities and the health system. Mr. Arthur says that he has been able to expand his services to more low-income people thanks to the funded technology.
We are really making a change with people who struggle to engage with the healthcare system at all. We're having such a big impact right now with the community that we have, but if it was properly funded, it would be enormous.
That benefit is only made possible by the right funding in the right places, and in some areas, it can be huge.
That's time away from school, that's time away from work, that's transportations, but then also energy and time costs from those who are caring for those with diabetes. So if you compare that to the investment of providing a tool like CGMs, continuous glucose monitors, I think it's not near as much as what it would be if you were to calculate the cost of all those other things.
The government fully funds technology such as GCMs and insulin pumps.
Over 700 paddlers from around the world are in Rarotonga this week to compete in the Waka e Wā, the biggest week of paddling on the Cook Islands sporting calendar. From open ocean marathon courses to fast-paced sprints, the event caters to every age group and skill level. Tiana Haxton reports.
Competitors from across the Pacific and as far as Canada, Sweden and the UK are in Rarotonga for 9 days of action-packed racing. Event coordinator Jules Tamariki told CITV Sports News the international turnout is one of the most diverse they've ever seen.
Well, we've got an exciting one this year. We have 10 overseas countries from Aotearoa, Australia, Hawaii, Tahiti. We've got someone from Sweden. It's a really long way to come. We've got Hong Kong, UK. So we've got a huge mix.
Races are taking place in the open ocean, departing from Avarua Wharf, while the juniors are competing in the shelter of Muri Lagoon. From the under-18s to the 50-plus divisions, there is a race for everyone, with ocean irons, marathon courses, fast-paced sprints, and the famous Round Raro Relay, a gruelling 36-kilometre race in a 6-man canoe. Tamariki says local paddlers are enjoying the opportunity to test themselves against international talent.
We've got some great paddlers coming, some really good competition for our locals. So the thing for our local paddlers is we really only compete against each other. So this, which is the reason Vakaiva started, it gives our locals a chance to race against international competition, which is great.
The Mats in Vakaiva runs until Saturday, the 29th of November.
To have a look at what's in the news this week, I'm joined by our editor, Koroi Hawkins. Hello, Koroi. We're starting off with a report looking at civic freedoms. What's this all about?
Malombula Sana. Yes, this report from Civicus, a global alliance of civil society organizations, has found a lot of positive statistics for the region, but are also urging governments to strengthen protection for civic freedoms. They have concerns around things like censorship, harassment of media, and the rights of rainbow communities. The report says some countries have yet to ratify the International Covenant on Civil and Political Rights or establish national human rights institutions. Researcher Joseph Benedict says stronger safeguards are also needed to ensure Pacific people can speak freely without fear or retaliation.
We've been covering this next story for a while, the conjoined twins born in rural Papua New Guinea. Can you give us an update on this?
Yes, a medical team from Australia arrived last week in the country for assessing the 6-week-old Tom and Sawong. Their parents want the boys to be surgically separated. Originally, this was supported by local doctors, but now the medical advice is not to separate them. A team from Sydney Children's Hospital Network arrived in Port Moresby last week. A spokesperson for the network said, however, that the medical appraisal was no guarantee that the twins would be flown to Sydney for surgery. A sponsor who's speaking on behalf of the family says the twins are receiving around-the-clock care by a dedicated nursing team.
In the music world, the loss of someone a lot of Pacific people will recognise. Jimmy Cliff has died.
Yes, the Jamaican singer who, along with Bob Marley, popularised reggae, ska and rocksteady music, has died at 81. His wife, Latifah Chambers, posted online Jimmy Cliff had a seizure followed by pneumonia. At just 14, Jimmy Cliff became nationally famous for writing the song Hurricane Hati. He'd go on to record more than 30 albums and perform all over the world in a 6-decade career. He was perhaps best known for the singles You Can Get It If You Really Want It and Many Rivers to Cross. He's also popular for covers of Johnny Nash's I Can See Clearly Now and Cat Stevens' Wild World.
Okay, let's look at some wider news now. What's been happening in the rest of the world?
Well, Cyclone Fina passed over northern Australia at the weekend as a Category 3 storm. An update from the Australian Bureau of Meteorology's early on Sunday morning said sustained winds near the centre of the cyclone reached 140 kilometres an hour, with the cyclone producing gusts of up to 195 kilometres an hour. There was some damage and a lot of people without power, but no injuries reported. In the Russia-Ukraine war, a 28-point peace plan has been discussed in Geneva as of Tuesday morning, New Zealand time. A spokesperson for Vladimir Putin told reporters the Kremlin had not yet been informed of the results of these talks. The US and Ukraine appear confident, but European leaders have stressed that Russia must come to the table. And finally, we've all seen the Black Friday sales around, but a warning from Consumer New Zealand that they're not all as good as they seem. The organisation spent 12 weeks tracking the prices of 10 products from 4 big retailers. Its consumer head of research and advocacy, Gemma Rasmussen, says there's a lot of marketing hype around Black Friday. She says while retailers are mostly following the rules, some seem to be a bit sneaky or misleading.
And that was RNZ Pacific editor Koroi Hawkins with the news wrap. That's Pacific Waves for today. For all episodes, head over to rnz.co.nz/Pacific. We're also on Spotify, Apple and iHeartRadio. From myself and the RNZ Pacific team, loki miuwhala next time more.